I've flipped cars for 6 years, but if I had to start over from the beginning with $1,000, this is exactly what I'd do to make $10,000 in the next couple of months. Let's get into it. One of the first cars I ever bought was $900. It was a Mazda 3 with 160,000 miles on it. It was a great car, and the only problems were like a dent in the rear quarter panel, the paint was a bit faded, and it needed a detail. With around $100, I was able to make it look a lot better. And by doing that, it was worth around $3,500, maybe even more. I ended up doing crazy things with that car and I kind of just destroyed it for fun, but that's besides the point. The point is, a car that I bought for less than $1,000, I could have made at least a $2,000 profit on. That's what finding good deals can do for you. And I'll say most $900 cars would have a lot more problems than that one did. But you can definitely find mini cars for $1,000 and need a little bit of work. You can make them look nicer and sell them for $2,000 to $3,000. Most people will hear me say I found a car for $1,000 and be blown away and think cheap cars don't exist. And if they do, they probably have a ton of issues. And yeah, some of them do, but not all of them. If you're good at finding deals and you know how to negotiate, you can absolutely find a running and driving car for around $1,000. I've seen hundreds of cars around that price, and with a little work, they could sell for a lot more. You'll never find a clean car without any problems for that price, but the thing to do is find them with the right problem. And what I mean by the right problems is find problems that are better than others. Like an engine light on can be problematic, and a car with engine or transmission issues, you don't want to deal with that. But if you find them with problems like dings, scratches, faded paint, maybe the seats are stained or dirty, those things can be fixed and they're the right ones to buy. Yes, these are problems, but most of them can be fixed and at least made to look better. And with these cheaper cars, people are buying them, but they aren't as picky, and so they'll deal with the problems for a cheaper car. It's more about knowing which problems are fine and which ones aren't. And once you buy it, you have to know which ones to fix and which problems to leave that just aren't worth it, and you just let the buyer deal with those ones. The real key is knowing where to look. Most people are lazy and they'll just scroll through Facebook Marketplace for 5 minutes. They'll see a bunch of overpriced cars and just give up or buy an overpriced one. But they don't dig through the listings and read the descriptions and look at the pictures. They think they are, but they aren't looking deep enough into it. And if they do, and they only have a $1,000 budget, but they find a $2,000 car, they're gonna assume they don't have enough money to buy the car. The thing is, there's something called negotiation. There's people out there just trying to get rid of cars and they don't care what the car sells for. So if you know how, you definitely can negotiate a car from $2,000 all the way down to $1,000. But even if you don't, there's still deals out there that are listed for $1,000. It's all about putting in effort. The people who actually do will find deals every day. And when I'm looking for deals, I'll look several times throughout the day, since the best deals don't stick around for days. They usually sell within a few hours or at most days. It doesn't mean there's not listings that are good deals that are listed for a long time, but they aren't as common. The best problems to look for is stuff that looks bad in pictures, which means less people would be willing to buy it. So then you go buy that car and you fix those few things up in a couple hours, maybe it takes 5 hours or something. And then now those people that were looking for good cars are going to buy yours because it's nice looking again. And they could just buy your car without having to get anything fixed after buying it. I've also done some more complicated repairs on these cheap cars, but almost every time I just end up wasting time and money. And it's better to just put your time into cars that are worth more, because then you make more profit on them with the same amount of time put in. But I'll go over that in a second, because right now I'm explaining how I'd start with $1,000, so that's all we got. A cheap car is almost always worth it to buy if it's $1,000 and running and driving. As long as there's no engine or transmission issues where you're gonna have to rebuild the engine or even replace it, it's probably a deal without that. You have to accept that an $1,000 car isn't gonna be as nice as you want it to be. And in fact, it's probably going to be pretty ugly. This is where a lot of beginners mess up though. They buy a beat up car and try to make it perfect. And I've got a thing for perfection, making the car look brand new, but with these cars, it's just not worth it. And selling these cars with a few problems, there's still people willing to buy them for $2,000 to $3,000. I had to learn this the hard way over the course of many cars. I always fixed them up and did so many unnecessary things. I'd paint the wheels black for no reason. I'd replace hardly worn out parts just so they look new. And I'd spend hours on polishing and spend way too much detailing them. And by the time I was done, I had to put so much into it that I barely broke even. All that work was basically for nothing and a waste of time. The lesson is, you're flipping cars for profit, not perfection. Your job is to fix what's worth it and leave the rest alone. Here's how I think about it. If a repair is cheap and makes a big visual difference, you could do it. If a repair is expensive or time consuming and barely changes how the car looks or drives, skip it. Are you detailing the interior? That's absolutely worth it. Just don't spend way too long doing it. But doing it right will completely transform how the car feels, and when the buyer gets in it, they're gonna wanna buy it. Restoring headlights are worth it. Replacing small trim pieces, probably not worth it. Are you replacing a taillight bulb that causes a light on the dash? Yeah, that's worth it. Repainting a fender that has some scratches? Not worth it. Just leave the scratches. It costs hundreds of dollars to fix, and most people won't even care about it. People buying $2,000 cars expect some imperfections, so the goal is to take a car that looks terrible and make it look decent. And that's the best way to make money on these cheap cars. It's by buying cars that look like $500 but run like a $2,000 car, and then making them look good so you can sell them for $2,000. Once you do that, you can take your $1,000 car that everyone else was too scared to buy, and now you're going to resell it and make $1,000 to $2,000 more. There's tons of people out there without a ton of money that want these cars, but they just won't buy them because they don't look good. That's why this price range works so well for reselling. There's massive demand for these cheap running and driving cars. You'll get tons of messages of people wanting to buy it, and the best part is you can just keep doing this over and over with every next car. So let me give you an example. If I only had $1,000 for a flip, before buying my first car, I'd for sure buy a $15 OBD2 scanner from Amazon. It's going to help you know if the car has any codes and whether or not you want to buy it when you go see it in person. And make sure to check out if they cleared the codes too, because even if you don't see a light on the dash, the monitor will say incomplete, meaning they could have cleared them or they unplugged the battery or something like that. So it could be hiding a code. Now with that, I've got $985 left. I'll take that money and look for a car posted for sale anywhere from $5,000 to $2,000. And if it's above what I have left to spend, I'll attempt to negotiate it down to what I can afford. What I'm looking for is a horrible looking car that drives fine. Maybe it has like an oil leak, the interior's trashed, a few broken parts, but mechanically it runs and drives without any major issues. And after negotiating it down as much as I can, I'll buy the car and get to working on it. And I'll do the repairs that make sense and not do the repairs that take too much time and money and nobody really cares about. I'd take it through $10 car wash, I'd buy a headlight restoration kit for like $20, and anything else that needed to be up, running, and in good condition. Let's say maybe $100 to fix it. Hopefully I picked a good deal that isn't gonna require me to spend tons of hours to fix it up, and I'd look to be done in maybe 10 or even 20 hours. Then I'd list it for sale for somewhere around $2,500, and if someone offered me $2,200, I'd take it and move on with a $1,200 profit. But to be safe, let's just say I made $1,000. Now we've got $2,000 to work with. So I'll look for a car from the $1,000 up to $3,000 range, negotiate it down as much as possible, and do the same process over and over again. Let's say from that car we make another $1,000. Now we've got $3,000. And by the way, this is being really conservative. You can definitely make more than $1,000 profit on every car doing the same thing. I'll repeat the process until I have around $4,000 to $5,000, and at this point I've got enough money to buy slightly better cars, so I can stop going with the $1,000 cars and we can move up to $3,000 to $5,000 cars. But I'd still definitely be looking for $1,000 cars, so just anywhere around that range. And at this point, I can buy slightly better cars, looking for ones with fewer problems and that are quick to flip. And with these ones, I'll fix them up more than the other ones, since people buying cars in this range are looking for better cars. They want something nice and reliable that just clean and gets them from wherever they're going. And at this point, I'll start to get better at knowing what's good to buy and what isn't, getting good at repairs and knowing which ones to do and which ones to avoid. This is where things start to speed up and you can make a solid income from flipping. And instead of making $1,000 per flip, you're now making $2,000 to $3,000. You're buying cleaner cars and you can start flipping more cars. And with all this, you're going to be making a lot more every month. But what I've explained so far is stuff you could do without any tools. And around here, you should be investing in some tools. You really don't need that much though. I like to buy tools as I need them, not just like a whole bunch at once that I'm never going to use. And there's a few basics that you're going to need no matter what, like a simple mechanics tool set with socket wrenches. You're going to need screwdrivers, pliers, all that stuff. Most of the tools you're going to need are only going to be $100 to $200 total. You'll also need a jack as you work on your cars, and you're gonna need some various tools for specific problems, and so you can buy those as you need them. And when you're buying stuff, don't get the name brand stuff. Just get whatever's the cheapest, and everyone might make fun of you or say not to, but this cheap stuff lasts way longer than you'll ever need, and it's totally gonna work fine. With each flip, you're gonna learn new ways to speed up and make more money, which is gonna lead to every car you flip, you're going to start making more money on each one. And then from here, with your tools and everything, you can start fixing harder to fix problems. But really, the cheap and easy flips are where the most money is made. Even after flipping cars for a long time now, I still end up flipping these cars most of the time. And it's not just profit per car you're thinking about. Sure, you can make $5,000 to $10,000 profit on a car, but you might have it for 2 months long. If you just focus on keeping your profit around $2,000 to $3,000 per car, you can flip way more cars. And at the end of the month, you're going to be making more money. And it's better to flip 4 cars than 1 car because it keeps your income more consistent and it helps you learn the process so it's more repeatable. Here's where you start to get in a nice groove and you understand what you're doing and what you can improve. Now you just keep doing it, and each flip you're going to learn new stuff and put more money in your pocket. Within a few months of consistent flips, you can make $10,000 for sure. And that all from starting from $1,000 is amazing. If I could tell you one thing, it would just be to start. Everyone gets motivated, sees all the potential of the money they can make, and then hardly anyone actually starts. To get you off on the right track, I linked a free Carfax in the description. It's so you can get a report on your car that tells you the history, the records, and make sure that it doesn't have any major problems like it was in an accident or something. Watch this video next to learn how to make more money flipping cars. And as always, I'm wishing you a lucky day.